Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to keep your magic circles together and closed just the way you meant them to be, and what to do if your magic circle is starting to open up when you don't want it to. For this video, I'll be using Lion Brand's new 24/7 cotton and a Furls wooden heirloom hook. Let's get started. Now here I have a circle that's almost finished that I've been making with the magic ring. Now you can see I've still got my end here. I'm working around both of those to create my circle. So let's get 2 more stitches made to finish the double crochets. Now if you're not familiar with how to actually make the magic circle, there's a link that I'll put here on the video as well as on mooglyblog.com where you can go check out the magic circle tutorial. So here I've got 12 double crochets. That's the usual amount I like to make when I'm making a flat circle. So since I've made this using the magic ring, to close up that center, what you would do normally is pull on this end, and you can see it just closes the center of that circle right on up, like so. Let me go ahead and join now, just to close that up. Make it look real nice. And then I'm going to show you what I do to make sure that, ooh, I've cut the yarn a little too long here. I pull that all the way through so it gets out of the way. There we go. Okay, so what do I do to make sure that this gets closed all the way and stays closed? I'm put my hook aside. We're all done with that. I'm going to take that tail again, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it until it's just real tight. So I'm going to have to hold on to it tightly so that I can pull tightly. There we go. Give it a really good tug, and you can see that circle is completely closed now. So how do we get it to stay that way without opening back up when it goes through the washing machine or kids play with it or whatever happens when you actually use your crocheted items? Now the key to that is weaving in the ends. I've got my yarn needle. I've put that tail on the yarn needle, and first thing I like to do is continue on in the direction. I can tell by looking at the yarn that it's coming out this way. So this is the direction it's already moving. So I'll go under a few of those stitches in the same direction. Maybe all the way around. If it's something that I feel is going to get a lot of wear and tear, I might go all the way around again just to help reinforce that circle an extra bit. But once I've done that, then I think the key is to go back in the opposite direction. So if I go straight back without looping into anything else, I'll just undo everything I just did. So I'll skip over a stitch, or I might split the yarn a little bit depending on the project. But as long as there's something to keep this end here, then I go back in the other direction with the yarn needle, and that helps to lock it in, like so. See, you can see by going over that little strand of the yarn there, right there, it's not pulling back undone what I did before. So I'll go around that some more in this direction, and then eventually, assuming this is a bigger project than just one round of double crochets, I will take this end and I'll weave it into another row and back and forth and really weave the end in well. 9 times out of 10, when I've heard of someone having a magic circle that's come undone, it's because they didn't continue to weave in those ends really well. Worst case scenario, as soon as they pulled it tight, they cut it off right there without weaving in the end at all. So with wear and tear, throwing in the washing machine in the dryer, eventually that's going to come undone. Now, what do you do if it's already happened? Maybe it was a gift, maybe you didn't know, maybe the yarn was just particularly slippery. But here I've kind of created a circle, and in order to fake it, I just didn't tighten it up. But I cut off that end before I could. So now I've got a magic circle here that I would never be able to tighten. So what do? This is fixable. What I'm going to do, and normally I would, oops, didn't pick up the yarn. Normally, to fix it, I would want to use the same yarn that I use for the rest of the project so it blends in and you don't see it. For this demonstration, I'm going to use a different color so you can see what I'm doing a little easier. If you can't find the same yarn that you used for the project, it's an older project or it was a gift, just try and get something the same weight or lighter in as close a color as you can. So I'm going to turn it over again and go to the back of the work. Let me get the yarn on the needle here, like so. I've got about a foot of yarn here, just whatever you're comfortable with using. You don't want to give yourself too short a length, and then you've got the same trouble again, not having enough to weave in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find those loops that are worked into the magic circle here. And again, I've used double crochets here, but it could be any stitch that you worked into the magic circle, that you worked into the ring. So I just start going under those loops, gently working my way around. I don't want to accidentally undo the yarn that is there, if I can help it. Just very carefully go all the way around till I know I've worked through all those stitches. Looks like there might be one more right here. I started on the other side of. So just to be absolutely certain, I go all the way around, and now I can take these two ends and pull that magic circle closed again. Again, I might have to add a little bit of muscle power to it. Pull it really tight, both directions. You can see I've been able to close that back up, like so. Now, I need to do the same thing with these two ends I was talking about with the other ends. I need to go around again, especially with this one. It looks like I could probably use another round of this thread just to really pull it closed all the way, and then go back the other direction and really weave in those ends. Like I was saying before, after I would weave in around the circle in both directions, I would then take it up into the next row and weave it in there too, just to make sure that these threads, these particular ends of the yarn, are woven in really, really well. And really, that's the key to keeping your magic circle in place. So I hope this video has helped you. If it has, be sure to give it a like. We'd love to read your comments, and thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching.